Hello friends, I hope you are all fine. So today I have brought a very interesting topic as well as a topic that is also critical in nature, because sometimes it is very difficult to understand what are those exactly means. So let's see what is the topic. The topic is spare parts. As I have discussed before about spare parts in the last session, so now I hope you recognize what spare parts is. It is just acting like a stepney when a machinery or equipment is getting breakdown, right? So now there are different kinds of spare parts. So what are they? First is regular spare. I will describe one by one. First I will make the classification, right? Regular spare, insurance spare, capital spare and rotable spare. So let's see one by one what are those. First is regular spare. So as the name suggests, it is regular in nature, the spare that are required in regularly. So see, also called maintenance spares. So the regular spares are also called maintenance spare and breakdown spares. So before that we have to understand it very carefully. What does the word maintenance denotes, right? So maintenance is the process of keeping machineries or equipments in good working condition. Maintain means what? To maintain something so that the efficiency is retained and its life is increased. So why should we maintain the equipments or machineries? So that the efficiency is ultimately it is retained and there is no stop gap in production while the production process is going on. There is no stoppage in that, and so that the life of the equipments also get increased, right? So that is the definition of maintenance. Now see, next is I have called that breakdown spare. So here breakdown, what does it mean? See, breakdown can be of two types. One, due to wear out of the parts, or system overload. What are they? During the processing of any product, suddenly a spare part gets, just the machineries get breakdown in anyhow, it gets breakdown. So it is normal in case. So that is wear out of the parts. But system overload is what? Suppose the production capacity of the machinery is of 100 units per hour. But due to excess demand, the machinery is producing 150 units per hour on daily basis. So after 30 to 40 days, for example, the machinery gets breakdown, right? So this can be of two types, due to wear out, that is in normal cases, or system overload due to overload of the system. Now, so it is also called as maintenance spare. So the spares that is required to maintain, to keep the machine in good condition, and also breakdown spares. So in case of any breakdown, we need this type of spares. Now secondly, it requires regularly. It requires on a regular interval, almost all the time. So you can say the per unit cost of these items are not very high, because the things that are used regularly, that are recurring in nature, so the unit cost will be low, right? Now, and it also required in substantial numbers. What does the meaning of substantial? Means a large number, requirement of large number. So finally we can conclude from this point that regular spare is also known as maintenance spares and breakdown spares. Whenever machineries will get breakdown or it requires maintenance, we need this type of spares, right? And it requires on a regular interval of time and in a large number, large quantity. And the per unit cost of these items are also not very high. Now, the regular spare, we have completed it. Next, we are going towards the insurance spare. Number 2, insurance spare. So, let's see what it is. First of all, insurance spares is required rarely, not regularly, just opposite. It requires very rarely. First, I will give you one example, one practical example, so that you can understand the whole fact very easily. So let's take a layman example, right? I have my house, okay. what I will do for this house, I will make insurance to cover the house. If any unpredictable happenings are there, then it will cover the loss of my house, right? So I will make insurance to cover my house, but I don't want to claim it. Remember, even if I am making insurance for my house, but I don't want to claim it, I don't want that any natural calamity happens or any abnormal things happen that my house gets destroyed, my house gets fired. I don't want that. I don't want to claim insurance. But if I don't make the insurance, but then also I take preventive action. Preventive action. That means we know that prevention is better than cure, right? So if we take preventive action, that is we made insurance, then if any abnormal situation arises, I can cope up with the loss. But if we don't make that, then if any abnormal situation arises, then we have to face significant loss. Okay, that will be very difficult for me to recover. Like that, insurance payer is almost like that. Okay, so it is used, it is required rarely, and it is high cost item. That is, you can see just opposite to regular spare, as it is used regularly in case of regular spare, but it is used rarely in case of insurance spare, right? So it is higher cost item, and it is not expected to use during the normal life of plant and equipment. So I have said it earlier also in that example. We don't want that any unpredictable loss occurs with my house, right? Like that, the company also don't want that this type of spares is required for the company in case of the normal life of the plant and equipment. But if it is not available, then when there is a need of this item, that would result in significant loss. That would result in significant loss. So we also need them. We need them, but we don't want that should be needed in the future. Okay. So insurance spare, I think you have got a view about that. Then I will talk about capital spare. So what is that? Let's see. Here I have written regular spare, and here it is insurance spare. So it falls somewhere between these two. These are two extreme ends, you can understand, because these are two opposite spares, right? So capital generally falls in between two extreme ends. Now what is that? The characteristics are a few quantities required. Few quantities required, but required. We are telling that required, but few in nature. That may be 5 or 10 over the lifetime of the equipment. Okay, that may be 5 or 10 over the lifetime of the equipment. Suppose the equipment, the life of the equipment is of 5 years. So in that, within that 5 years, we require 5 to 10 only capital spares. We require that. Then spares are expensive, so it will be expensive. Obviously, it will be expensive than the regular spare, as the name suggests itself that it is a capital spare, so capital in nature. Next, it is desirable to keep almost the exact quantity as may be required. Why it is so? Because capital spares are expensive in nature. So we will just make a assumption, that an estimate that how much can be required the capital spare. So to that extent only, it will be beneficial to keep the capital spares. So we can keep the stock of 5 or 10, that will depend upon the estimates, right? The stock out cost as well as the per unit cost is very high. Obviously, if we don't have the capital spares in my hand when I require that, then if suddenly my machinery or equipment gets breakdown and I need that capital spare but I haven't in my hand, then it will be a very great loss for me, right? So its stock out cost will be very high, as well as the per unit cost will be also very high, right? Next is rotable spare. The name suggests its meaning. See, rotable, that can be rotated, or we can say these are repairable in nature. This can be repaired once it gets damaged. And reusable spare, it can be reused again. So it is basically different from those spares. The spares itself can be repairable, the spare itself can be reused if it damages, right? Example, take the example of electric motor. You can take the example of electric motor that can be reconditioned after failure and put back in operation. So the electric motor can be reconditioned after failure, right? So I think that you have understand the 4 spare parts. Just you have get a view about what are the 4 spare parts are there. So I will come in depth in the next class. So thank you. Please note it down.